Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. So it's been a couple months, seems like, since I've done a homestead update to talk about more than just the beekeeping. So I'll touch on the bees here in a little bit, so don't be disappointed about that. But so I think it was first part of May I did an update, and lots happened since then. It's been a frustrating spring around here. Man, the rain in May was just unbelievable, and it really slowed down the nectar flow, and had one beehive starve out because they couldn't get out and forage and got robbed out. And so I was actually feeding some in May to some of my hives, which this is the first year I've actually fed in May any hives. I never do that. But anyway, so I had my water well all up and working. Although it doesn't do real well, it only produces about 150 gallons a day. So if you do the math, it's like about between 0.1 and 0.2 gallons a minute is all it produces. So I had to disconnect my sprinkler system, and I put some valves in, so I'm running my sprinklers off of city water now, and I've got it set where all my out freeze hydrants, I can switch them on and off from the well. So with the well development, and it was all working good. Yesterday we got, I don't know, it was about 2 inches of rain, just a flash, bunch of rain, and so I knew I had to have water in my tank, and I had water in my tank, and I had it about half buried. But here's what happened. So the tank, so I had water in it up to almost where it starts curving there, and I had it right below oops, looks like I left my meter out here, and it got rained on. So I had, there's a float switch in there. I had it right below the float, so I could operate it. And anyway, so this end here came a little bit up when all that water rushed in here. I had it buried, about to right there. And I just got enough water down in there, and there was enough air in that tank, and it lifted it up on the far side, and it was about to rip my my water lines up. They were all bent and cattywampus, so I was afraid it was gonna bust one of these fittings. So I went ahead and sawed it off, and you can see how much dirt I had in there. But it wasn't done, it wasn't completed. Kind of a little wall there, and it has these little conical shaped things. There's 5 of these in here, and I had those packed tight, tamped in there hard with dirt, and on that far end they just slid down. So anyway, I knew if I let it settle and tried to dig it out by hand and work on it that way, that would just be near impossible. So I pumped all the water out, floated the thing up, and lifted it out of there. So now I can do this with my tractor instead of in there with a shovel. So I got to let this dry, get it cleaned out and leveled again and put back in there. And this time I will get the dirt covered completely up. And I just ran out of time in doing things. So I'll get it covered completely up, and I'll build a little bit of a berm out here, so it's a little higher than this rest of this area, so water can't sit there. It'll just kind of wash on and go. This is downhill this way, so it'll go on out that direction. But yeah, it was working. It was working good. So we got us a 20 gallon per minute pump in here in this cistern, and man, it gets it. It pumps out a lot better than our city water did, and it'll really run the sprinklers. But I don't get enough water per day to run my sprinklers, so I just moved it back to the city, and we're just going to have to live with that. But 150 gallons a day we are going to be able to run, water the garden. And so there's the garden down there. So it ought to take care of that. And then there's another garden down the hill from there. I'll walk down there and show you how that's all doing. But yeah, the rain has set everything back, all the rain in May. So around here, I've got the well discharging, and I just run it into this 5-gallon bucket because I'm checking the how much silt is in it. And I'm letting it clear up because I don't want to put water in my tank until it's cleared up. And when it only puts out, that much water a day, it's taking a while. So let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. So it pumps so slow, or it produces so little. My pump protection circuit will only delay 3.5 hours, and that's not much water. So I wound up putting it on like a coffee timer, so it only kicks on every 12 hours. So twice a day, it'll run. And I've been checking this, so it looks pretty clear, right there. But when you get to the last little bit, it's a little bit of silt in there. You can see. So it's getting a lot better than it was. So I check this, twice a day. Dump it out. I'm going to bring a trailer up here that has a couple of 35-gallon tanks and maybe start putting it in that, so at least I'm not wasting all this water. So we had so much rain, I would, I'll try and mow one day, work a bees another day, if it's not raining. And some of this area out here I've left. I didn't mow it because it's got that white Dutch clover for the bees. And there's a couple 3 patches out here that I left. And then there's another one right here. There were 2. One was about dried up, but this is a type of clover here, and it produces flowers, after everything else, and the bees get on that. So once that's done, there's pretty much not anything left around here, little odds and ends that the bees can forage on. So our nectar flow is just about over. So we had a late freeze in May as well, so we didn't get hardly any fruit. Peach, pear, I think there's 1 or 2 pears on there. Yeah, I can actually see them. Yeah, there's a couple on there. But, and then we had the hailstorm, so any fruit that did survive the freeze got the crap beat out of it with the hail. And I had a busted window. There's a peach. But the first thing we ever had was cherries. We got, I don't know, maybe a pint of cherries off of that. And they were good. They were nice, sweet cherries. Let's go check out the rain gauge down here. Yeah, so we've had 2 rains since in the last 2 days. Oh my gosh. And that's how much rain we got in 2 days. 4 3/4 inches. Yeah, that's one reason my tank floated out of the hole. Oh, so chickens, the chicken saga. You notice it's really green in here now. It's because we don't have many chickens left. So we bought quite a few chicks, and we got them out here and got them out into the brooder, got them released as they got bigger. And one day I came out and there was a couple chickens in the coop, and there weren't any out here, and I couldn't figure it out why. And I got to looking around. There was a dead chicken laying right here, and there was another small, one of the new white Americanas was laying outside the fence. I was like, oh no, something got in here. And I got to looking, there were coyote tracks in here. So what I figured out was when I added this extra part of this run right here, and it had been that way a month. I failed to connect. There's little connectors right there. I didn't connect them. So this whole section of fence right here was not energized. So I suspect they slipped underneath it right in here. And a coyote, and I know it was a coyote because there were tracks, and I also caught them on my game camera. So 19 chickens were taken, and they weren't eaten in here. They were taken away. So I suspect that was a coyote feeding a den, taking them to their pups. Down in there I have some game cameras back down here, and I caught that coyote running past one of my game cameras with a chicken in its mouth. So lesson learned there. Energizer works good when it's connected to everything. So one thing I did, I added this extra 2 strands around the outside to kind of help them from slipping under. Plus the whole thing's energized now. So we were about out of chickens. I think we had 6 chickens left. So we went and bought 4 from a guy in Anadarko. And one of those, 2 of them were these Rod Stewart Roadrunners, I call them. I don't know what they are. It's a Polish something or other. And 2 Americanas. So we brought those 4 chickens back. We didn't isolate them, and we should have, but I don't really have a good way to do that unless I put them in that little brooder. So all of our chickens got respiratory illness from those chickens, and we've been fighting that for about a month now. There's one we got from him. Pretty chickens. That's an Americana. I really like those, and they're really docile and friendly. You can walk right up to them. But the other chickens pick on them too, because they're so passive. But anyway, so we've been fighting that. I've been treating it with Vet Rex, and they're about all healthy now. So I was talking to Bobblehead Homestead and was going to buy some chickens from him, and I thought we had that set up, and I just kind of lost communication with him, and I know he's real busy trying to move home places to a different location. But anyway, I wasn't getting any feedback from him, so I put in an order to Murray McMurray for 6 Americanas, 6 Whiting True Blues, and 6 Buff Orpingtons. So 18 chicks we've got coming the 2nd week of July, and they should be here. And they come immunized for 2 things. I ordered shots for them. And anyway, there's a brooder over on the, an outdoor brooder on the other side of that coop, and we'll transfer them in there and get them going. It's our compost pile. So we had these sunflowers come up in there, volunteers, so we just let them go. And the bees love those too. They make big old heads, and the bees will get up there, and the bumblebees too. In fact, they'll fight over it. Yeah, you can see the clouds. It's supposed to rain all week. We're kind of between rains, and I can't really get in the bee yard. I can't mow, so I thought this will be a good day to shoot a homestead update. So this is the main pile right here of the stuff that's pretty good underneath all that crabgrass. And I started a new one here, and it has chicken manure, and I got a bunch of trash bags of cut grass from my folks, and I was gonna mix that in here and start doing the lasagna mixture and getting the green and the manure and all of that and have a working pile of compost. But that was the plan. But you can see it's just too wet to get in here with the tractor. I mean, I could do it, but it'd make huge ruts, and it's just not a priority right now. Still got the wood chips. I've got landscape fabric, 3-foot diameter, 100-foot rolls to go up at the house on the flower beds, and then we're going to put that on top. So and the weather's, you know, holding us up on that. So just so many things to do. We're so far behind, and the rain, I think we're getting everyone else's rain around the country because everyone else has had droughts. So the big garden, I couldn't get my tomatoes in for the longest time because of the rain. And I still haven't planted watermelons. Watermelons are supposed to go here. So it's nearly July. I have not planted watermelons. So you're supposed to be eating watermelons in July, not planting them. So I don't even know if I'll get them done. You can see all the water standing. So the time before I tilled it this last time, this was green. There's like algae growing in here. It's so wet. But it finally dried up enough. I got it tilled this last time, and I got my tomatoes planted. Gosh, they've been in 2 weeks. So they're stressed because of the heat, and they're a small plant, and they're not doing well. Not doing well at all. It was way too late to plant them. So I don't know if they'll even survive. And these are the tomatoes that we grew from seed, and it just took forever to get anything going out here because of the rain. Frustrating spring. Got some asparagus coming up from, I planted that from seed last year, and I think that's a wild or a volunteer cantaloupe. More asparagus there. And I planted little asparagus that I grew from seed this year. Most of that's weeds, but there's some little skinny shoots in there. That's asparagus. But I put it out so late, and in the heat, a lot of it just withered up and died. And I did harden off these plants too. So it's just, I don't know. They look sad. They may be too wet now, is their problem. I do need to side dress them with a little bit of fertilizer. I don't know if they're even going to live. They've been out 2 weeks now. So we had good intentions here. It just didn't work out. And the onions are amidst all that crabgrass. Yellows are down this row, and they didn't do very well, and reds are all here. The reds look like they're just about ready to harvest. All my whites and yellows I have harvested, and I'll give you a shot of those. So with all the rain, I moved my onions up here. I put them in a cardboard box. These were the first ones I harvested. And these are yellow granics and white super sweets. And I got them up here drying instead of laying out on the ground because the ground is sopping wet. They're liable to rot out there on me. Okay, so this garden, the raised bed garden, is doing pretty well. We didn't get a chance to get anything in the flower beds out here yet. I don't know that we will. We do have a couple of butterfly or passion flowers coming up. Well, I don't see that one, but there's one over here for sure. A couple of them. These make the prettiest flowers. It looks like something from Mars right there. So they'll vine all the way up here. And a Gulf flituary is a butterfly that likes to get on those. Okay, this garden, it's sopping wet from the rain, but that's some bolted lettuce there. But we do have tomatoes along this panel here. So these tomatoes were growing in here volunteer. So I just moved them up against this panel. So we had celebrity tomatoes in here. And so I'm assuming these will be celebrities. And that one's about to get overcome by beans. So up here we've got pole beans. These are Blue Lake pole beans, and we have Blue Lake bush beans down below. And all the beans back here are Blue Lake bush. And those were planted from seed and they're doing well. And this is my COVID garlic. I bought garlic last summer and planted it, and it's just now, this came back up in the winter and I replanted it in here, so it's ready to harvest. So I'm going to have three nice chunks of garlic in there I can split and replant. Hey, Polish chicken. And then over here is cucumbers. This side is some heirloom, and this side is like ones for pickling. And we're training them up this trellis. Man, the cucumbers are doing good because of it's been so wet. And let's see, I've got 4 tomato plants right in here. And I've got our watering system going, which I've got turned off right now, but I've got it set to water twice a day for I think 15 to 20 minutes. I'll try and keep it where it's you know, damp in here but not soaking wet, and that really works good. There's a few areas it doesn't get very well, and we just touch it up with this little reel hose here. This is really nice. It pulls out and it's 60 foot long, and you can reach anywhere in the garden with it. You just pull it out and lock it and then walk around water, and when you're done you just give it a yank and it sucks all the hose right back up. We planted strawberries this year, and we've got quite a few strawberries off of these. We had 2 different varieties. That one there, something happened to it. I'm not sure what happened. Root may have got broke off or something when it was getting picked. 3 squash plants. We've already gotten a few squash, and this one's already got the vine borer beetle in it. You can see it's dying, and I'm sure the others have it in there too. They're just not dying yet. Let's see, beets are here, and that's some kale left from the winter, and dill is right there. So we may be able to make pickles with my own dill this year. We'll see. It's about time to run the strings up and train them up the strings. They'll go all the way up that. Last year, we had a different variety of these pole beans, and they were like mealy, and I don't know why. They weren't very good. So we went with the Blue Lakes this time, and we'll see how those taste. All the beans and tomatoes are lined with marigolds. Yeah, we got some blooms here. So maybe we'll get some tomatoes. I don't know what those will be, because those are just volunteers. That's bad when your volunteer tomato plants are doing better than the ones that you babied all spring. Okay, oh, and some chives. Those have been there. This will be their 3rd year. My mom gave me those. Tomatoes on this side too. Oh, here's a couple peppers. I've got a bell and a non-hot variety jalapeno. There's a couple peppers down in the big garden over there as well. I didn't show you. So we got the volunteer tomatoes along here. Actually, these are some. A couple of them are ones that we planted that from the transplants. They're not volunteer. Right there. Looks like there's 3 of those with the red tags, and those are celebrities. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we get some tomatoes this year. So in this little container here by the hydrant, we've got some lemon balm, and there's also some mint in there, and one other herb. And but I need to get those other 2 out of there, because that lemon balm is taking over. The others can't even breathe in there. There's the other up there. So this year the wildflowers in this area have not come in like they did the prior 2 years, and I'm not sure why. We didn't do anything different. We usually let this grow up and then mow it down in the fall when everything's done blooming. But there's a few, but not much. The areas where we kept mowed lower, you know, like this here, this had more wildflowers in it earlier on than that did. So kind of strange. I don't know if the hard freeze caused that or leaving that tall, but we always have left it tall, so I'm not sure what changed there. This big black tarp, we were killing that off. That used to be part of the chicken run. We're killing that off and was going to put a cut flower garden right there. But, you know, it just never dried out, and it'll be nice and ready next year with all the chicken manure in there. So that's what's going on with that. There's the well. So with the well, we had to, so the water was all running back down through the pipe downhill back into the well, and it's not supposed to do that. Check valve's supposed to stop it. So the guy that was helping me, we pulled it. So it's 200 foot of pipe, 200 foot deep, 10 sections of 20 foot pipe, and he had this cool gadget to lift it out, and I'll put that in right here so you can check that out. It's pretty neat. Anyway, we pulled it up, and we found they had used Schedule 80 fittings on the pipe and not Schedule 120. One was cracked and letting water out, and also when we took them apart, every one of them cracked taking them apart. So that was no good. So we replaced all those with Schedule 120, and we found a section of pipe, the one that was on the pump had a hole in it. So there were 2 leaks in the well pipe. So we got that fixed, and we got up and we ran it, and it ran about 5 minutes and the motor quit in this well. It was open and shorted to ground. So we pulled it back out. This was all in the heat of the day in the sun. We were about to die. We pulled it all back out and replaced the motor, and it's working now. So the guy was a huge help. Really appreciate him. So if you're in Oklahoma and around McLeod area, call Howell's Well Service. Man, he is a super guy, and he helped me a lot, and really appreciate him. So 2 days ago, the pond was half empty. It's completely full now. And I'm sure it ran over the spillway. Spillway's right there. 6-inch pipe. One other project that I did, right before I tilled up the big garden the last time, I made a big long strip here that I tilled, and I planted 2 varieties of clover and some pollinator flowers in this big long strip. And on the right hand side, I dug up out of the big garden a bunch of volunteer sunflowers that were growing in there, and they don't like being transplanted very much, but they're still alive, but nothing like the ones that were growing by themselves and hadn't been moved. But the clover's coming up pretty good in there, and I do have to water this when it dries out because it'll die. And so I'm doing that till all that gets established. So that's for the bees. Don't know how much they'll get out of that, but I think I bought about 8 pounds of clover seed and a big old packet of pollinator mix. So we'll see how it does. It's starting to get taken back over by the native grass, so I'm gonna have to run the mower over it at some point and put it up on the highest setting to keep that knocked down. Clover, you can see some weed in there too, but man, you can't plant nothing around here without weeds getting going in it. So hopefully it'll get established. Bees are doing well. This hive 28 right there, that's the one I call the pissy hive. Boy, they get after me. I did pull 2 more late splits right here out of hives number 10 and number 20, I believe. So I pulled queens out of there, and those other hives are going to attempt to make new queens, and if they don't, we'll just put them back. So that gets me up to an even 30, which is what I try to go into winter with. So I didn't think we would have a very good honey year, and it's not going to be like last year, but some of the hives have done really well. This one here is really strong. It's got 3 honey supers and 2 are full. So if they do that third one, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And those 2 have supers, and I think they've got some in them, but not a whole lot. Those are the double swarm. Those 2 boxes right there that we caught right here, and that was in May before all the rain hit. Actually, it started raining that day and didn't stop the whole month of May, it seemed like. And here's the south end of the bee yard, and you can see we've got some double super, triple super, double super. So and the ones with doubles, the doubles are full. So that makes about 35 pounds of honey, full super, and they weigh about 42 to 45 pounds a piece. So here's 3 new hives, 2 of those Wildflower Meadows queens that we bought. Pre-ordered them back in January, and they showed up, and they're all doing good. We had 2 laying worker hives this year. That one there, it's got the brick on it because we're keeping an eye on that. And the other one is hive 1 right there, which has a honey super, and they're actually putting a little honey in there. So it was hive 19 I pulled the other split from, because it's got all the rocks on it. So that's a queenless hive. This hive right here with the little light green super on top, that's hive 8. That's one of our strongest hives this year, and it may make 3 supers of honey. Our nectar flow is slowing down right now though, and this rain's not helping. The other strong one is hive 30, and it's over back here. And we actually pulled a split off of that for that hive right there, and they're both doing good. Yeah, so I've got the thunder rolling in the background, so I better get this thing wrapped up. It's probably a pretty long video anyway. Just thought I'd do an update. They don't get a lot of views, that's okay. I know some people enjoy the other stuff, so I got to throw some of that out there from time to time. And it's fun for me to go back in the winter and see things, and also look the prior year, you know, and check the date, right? So what was going on at that date, and am I seeing the same thing this year, and things like that. So that's kind of a neat thing to do, just as a journal and a record. So that's it for this update. June, it's almost July, so might try and get one out in July, I don't know. But thanks for watching if you made it this far. A lot of talking and not a whole lot of action, but it's fun to kind of walk around and show you what's going on. So it's been a frustrating year so far, but it's not a total bust. The bees are going to do about half what they did last year, would be my estimate. So if you're hunting honey, I'm out of honey. I should have some end of July. So I'll put it on Facebook, and I'm thinking about starting a web page to sell online, because that's legal now in Oklahoma, so we can do that. So anyway, that's the end of the video. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe on your way out, and we'll catch you on the next video. Y'all take care.